All right, so thanks everyone for joining today. We're going to be going over competitive analysis and how you can use analysis of your competition to gain an advantage with your SEO. So this is our 7th session. And just so you can see where we are so far in the course, we covered quite a few topics today. And during today's course, today's session, we're really going to kind of touch on all of these different things that we've gone over, but how you would use it more to use these concepts more to look at what your competitors are doing and to borrow good ideas from them so that you can have success with your different SEO campaigns. So just a high-level roadmap for today's session. We're going to cover the basics. So what exactly is SEO competitive analysis? Why do competitive analysis for SEO? Identifying your competitors. So how do you even find who you're competing against? And then re-engineering your competitor's success. So figuring out what's working for them and then kind of applying it to your own website or online properties. And then after that, then we're going to just talk about the different SERP features. This is something we covered much earlier in the course, but depending on your business type or your website or your target audience, there might be certain features within a search engine results page that you really want to optimize for. And then, as always, some time for Q&A, and then we'll go over the homework. Okay. So what is SEO competitive analysis? So competitive analysis in SEO is simply the process of identifying any related website that ranks higher than you on a search engine results page. And you're looking at those websites that are ranking well for search terms related to your product, your service, or your company. So something that you might be targeting for your website data might be vastly different than the target for Jarek's website. Your competitors are going to be completely different. So that's why it's really important to understand your business first, understanding how your target customers find your business or search for your business online. And then from there, you can figure out who you're competing with for that online market share. So question, and I'll open this up to the group. Why do you think it's important to analyze your competitors? And this isn't just online marketing. This is just business. This can be applied to business. So why do you think it's important?
To learn more on how they can get more audience.
I'm sorry, what was the last part?
More audience.
Yep, more audience, okay. Anyone else? Anything else to add?
To come up with a better strategy.
Yep, very good, very good. Anyone else?
To know the strength and weaknesses of competitors.
Very good. So that's often called like a strength and weaknesses opportunities analysis. So very good, very good. Anything else? These are all good answers. I just, there's a lot of reasons why you would want to analyze your competitors. I'm looking at Jana and Joy right now.
To get more ideas.
Get more ideas, correct.
To know their work.
Say that one more time.
To know their work ethics.
To know their work ethics. What do you mean by work ethics? Still waiting, Janet. I guess, Janet, to help you out there, when you say work ethics, you might, one reason why I would look at a competitor, you can kind of see, the services they offer. And then some people, they'll actually even, so let's say Dea, her test website is it's a lead generation company, right? Lead generation website. So what Dea might do for competitive analysis, she might go to another company in the Philippines who provides the same service, maybe contact them and see kind of what their customer service process is like. So not only is that just online marketing, but once someone submits a contact us form, what happens? Does someone email you? Does someone call you? How quickly do they email or call you? What do they say in that phone call or email? And that's all information she can take back to her team, and that's all information she can take back to her team to figure out how they can improve their own internal processes. So I guess, Jen, I help you out on that one. So I'm gonna have to go to you later on. But yeah, all good answers. One other reason why you want to look at your competitors, we focus on what they're doing good, but you might find something that they're just doing terribly, and it's like, I would never do that with my business. So it can also be lessons learned as well. So as I said, those are all good answers. But I just want to go over a few more here. So this is more from a 1,000-foot view. So not just focusing just on SEO, but guidance on landing page copies. So we've talked about improving your online visibility through SEO and to get more traffic to your website. But once that potential customer comes to your website, then what? You have to convince them to choose your service or your product, and you pretty much have to come across as the expert, but you also have to incorporate different sales strategies with that. So it's a little bit of showcasing your technical expertise, but also being able to sell why you're the best choice for them. So that will help you give, looking at different competitors will give you kind of a direction on what things you should mention in your landing page copy. That's often called copywriting. Content troll and customer support. So many companies, especially in the technology field, they're going to have an extensive focus on creating customer support related content. So this is in, some companies, they have standalone small websites that are just targeted to support, where someone goes there and they can read all the information they need to address their issue with that particular product. For smaller companies, they might just do an FAQ page where they focus just on different questions that they receive frequently from their customers. So you can see how your competitors are using content to address customers' issues and concerns. You get insight into the optimal content mediums. So let's say that you have a lead generation website, and you see that your competitor, they're doing a lot of infographics and a lot of ebooks, and they're ranking #1 for lead generation Philippines. Well, that's kind of a signal that you should really look at infographics and ebooks as a way to generate leads for your lead generation business, because even a lead generation business needs leads, right? So just make sure that you're looking at what type of content your competitors are putting out there, and then figuring out how you can improve upon that content. And we'll get into that a little bit later. You want to maximize your content and site's visibility. So really, this is why we do SEO. And that's why we also do other strategies like social media and paid advertising through Google, all to improve your your business visibility online. And then, as you all mentioned, understand what is working and where to prioritize your efforts. And this is really important if you have a small team. You can't be everywhere at once. You can't work on everything at once. So it's probably better just to take 80% of your effort and focus it on, once, or 80% of your capacity, your time, and focusing it on one or a few efforts. That way you can see more traction more quickly. And by looking at your competitors, you can kind of figure out where to prioritize. And then you can uncover strategic advantages. So this is kind of, a step above SEO, but you can see that, most company websites, they're going to talk a little bit about the team. They're going to talk about the founders. So you can kind of see their background. And if you see that your team has more experience, or they have worked on more, a wider range of different projects and a wider range of clients, then that could be one of your strategic advantages. Perhaps one of your advantages is that, compared to your competition, maybe your team members speak different languages, so you can target different markets that they wouldn't be able to just with that strength. So just, some different things you can uncover doing competitive analysis. Now, kind of bringing this back down to earth, how does all this relate to SEO? Well, of course, SERP rankings. So by doing something better than your competitor, especially content, you will see a positive impact on your SERP rankings over time. More established authority. So again, this kind of goes back to content. If you're able to look at what your competitors are doing, the type of blog articles they are writing, maybe write about the same topics, but do it 10 times better, then that's going to be a big boost to your professional authority. And then business volume. The reason why we have websites, the reason why we do SEO, or really any online marketing for our business, is to generate more business, so generate more sales, more revenue. So by doing SEO, and then by carefully looking at your competitors, you are positioning your business to grow over time. And so when you're identifying your competitors, you're going to be going against a mix of small companies and large companies. So, and there are advantages to both, and there are also disadvantages of both. So starting off with the big players in your industry. So what are some of the pros? So we say, look at someone in the tech industry, someone like Apple, for instance. They have a very high authority. If you say Apple, people instantly know who you're talking about. They have huge online properties of extensive content. So pretty much anything related to their products or technologies, they probably have written some content or support content for it. So they have the team, and that's the third bullet point here. They have the team to go out there, create massive content, create massive online properties in little time. And of course, more money to do so as well. So some of the cons for big players, and this may or may not be true for Apple, but generally for larger companies, there are going to be more brand and technology restrictions. So the larger the company is, typically the more important brand consistency is when they're doing their marketing. And really what that boils down to is there are going to be more steps of approval before they do a social media post or before they publish a new article on their website. It's going to require more approval. Also, technology restrictions, whereas maybe a startup, they can try out a new technology and decide if it's a good long-term investment. With a more established company, they probably already have their own technologies that they've been using for years. They might even have their own technologies that they've built in-house. So, and usually it's going to be very difficult to move away from those things unless, it's a, massive upheaval. So very important, that's one con of, marketing for big players, that they're not as quick to turn around into a different direction. Slow to implement new strategies. So the same, it requires more approval and takes longer. Lack of flexibility, non-specific authority, and non-specific content. So they might be authority in a technology space, but if we're saying I'm only looking for an authority in marketing automation, it might be more difficult for them to establish that authority because they are more general. Now for small players in the industry, so some of the pros, it's going to be very fast to implement new strategies. So let's say we had a startup that was the size of your team. All you guys would have to do is just maybe have a meeting or two meetings, agree on something, and then go for it. Whereas that's very different in a larger company. So with that, there's greater flexibility. And let's say you're going against a larger company that might offer as one of their services marketing automation. Whereas if that's only your focus, that's your one and only focus, then you can spend more time creating targeted content around that topic. And so that gives you a more specific authority for marketing automation. And some of the cons compared to a larger company, so, kind of making this example more relevant, Interrupt Media, one of your services obviously is marketing automation. One of your companies that you might compete with locally, their name is 7 Atoms, and they also offer marketing automation among many other different services. So if you were to mention 7 Atoms, they might have a much higher authority and brand recognition than Interrupt Media, just because they are a bigger company. And also there might be a lack of resources. So their team might be triple or quadruple the size of your team. So they're able to do things more quickly. And then less content. So since your team isn't as large and you don't have as many writers, then it may take longer to put out the same amount of content. So that's just some cons, but if you are targeting the right content, you can easily compensate for those disadvantages. Any questions there? Okay. So who are your competitors? So how do you figure out who you're competing against? You might have an idea just from knowledge of your industry, but there are always companies and websites out there that you didn't know about. So you want to look at companies or websites that are targeting the same audience. So you both have the same customer avatar, and you're basically competing for their attention. Targeting the same keywords. So you can use a tool like SEMrush or Ahrefs, or there are a ton of others, and figure out which companies are targeting the same keywords as you. Then other related industry queries. So let's say that marketing automation, so we've already talked about 7 Atoms, but maybe, when someone is looking for marketing automation, they might have, other alternatives where they don't even go to a service. Maybe there's a done for you service out there, or, a training out there where they learn how to bring marketing and automation in-house. Or those would be related industry queries. They might not be direct competitors, but you're still targeting that same audience, and they are still an option for your audience. So that's why you also kind of want to look outside the box of just your specific keywords and understand what are the other options for your target customer. So I'm going to do a screen share and just show you how to do it's a very quick competitive analysis in SEMrush. So this competitive analysis is actually for the Brass Animals website. So Ben's website. So you can see here, I just type in the domain name here in the organic research field. And what it did, I went to this is the positions tab, and you can see the different keywords that Brass Animals is ranking for. So some of these were very relevant, and some of these not so much. So there were a couple that I looked at. So New Orleans Wedding Parade and Brooklyn Brass Band. So in SEM Rush, you actually have a feature where you can actually look at the search engine results page for a particular keyword or phrase. So you'll just, and that column is over here, and you can just click. Whatever keyword you wanted to look at. So the two that I looked at were, so let's say New Orleans Wedding Parade, and we can see here kind of what's ranking well for this particular phrase. So what it looks like, there are a lot of like tools, guides, tips, like 5 things you need to know for a New Orleans inspired wedding parade. There are a few videos here. So, what this would tell me, if I, was really making an effort to rank on the first page for this phrase, is that, first, I have some content topics here. So 5 things you need to know for a New Orleans inspired wedding parade. So if I was preparing something for the Brass Animals website, then I would do something like 10 things you need to know for a New Orleans inspired wedding parade. And then even on top of that, I would try to incorporate more rich media, so some more images, and just, provide more value for the reader. So much of what we went over during our last session about creating great content. I would definitely consider creating some videos, or even a few, because as you can see, there are 4 videos here on the first page, and they're all targeting New Orleans, and they're all targeting wedding parade. And pretty much, yeah, just kind of go do that process for each of these different websites. And then finally at the end here, there's, does anyone remember what this is called, this section? Someone just said it. Yep, that's it. So good job. So this is the feature snippet. And so how will we use the feature snippet in this case?
Can you repeat the question?
So you guys were right. This is the feature snippet. So let's say we were trying to rank for this phrase, New Orleans Wedding Parade. How can we use the feature snippet to, get an advantage with that article or that content?
Can I answer?
Go for it.
Use that term on your meta description or your title tag.
Yeah, so
Use
that's very true.
Wedding parade.
That's very true. That's a great way to optimize for that phrase. But specifically, how can we use these questions here to rank or improve our position and rank for that phrase?
I have no idea.
No idea? So remember, the feature snippet, these are common questions that people ask about this phrase or related to this phrase. So the way we could use these is actually provide our own answers to each of these questions. So maybe we'll have like on our New Orleans wedding parade page, or second line parade page, I think is the right term for it. We can have an FAQ section where we answer, what is the second line at a wedding? How much does it cost to have a second line in New Orleans? Can you throw a parade for yourself in New Orleans? What is the parade in New Orleans called? These are all questions we can answer. And then, we can kind of see how it's not going to let me expand it, but we can see how other websites are answering the questions and just be more detailed. So that's how we can use the feature snippet. Okay, any questions there? Okay. So looking at our second example, so Brooklyn Brass Band. So this is a phrase that the Brass Animals website was ranking number, I believe, 46. Yeah, 46. So like on the, that would be the, like the 5th page. So definitely some area for improvement, but let's see what we can learn from this page from people who are already ranking. So we see that when we first search this, there's a big video here at the top of the page. And it doesn't even look like they're targeting Brooklyn Brass Band. They actually have a song called Brooklyn. And just because it's with Brass Band, it's being ranked for that phrase. So what this tells me, and then if I just do a quick scan, all of these, at the very top, these are all videos. So what does that tell me, Jana, if I wanted to position my website to rank for Brooklyn Brass Band?
Make your own video.
Exactly. So we definitely want to make some different videos, and maybe, probably more than one, and just, target different phrases like Brooklyn Brass Band or Brass Band in Brooklyn, for example. So we go a little bit further down, we can see that this Gigmasters website is ranking number 1. And so Gigmasters is pretty much like a directory website for musicians and other artists. And so we don't have a listing there. We should definitely add one because it is ranking number 1. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, so that's good. That's good. So you want to make sure you have a listing there. Let's see what else. So number 2, Meetup. So are you guys familiar with Meetup.com? Yeah, so Meetup.com is basically a website where you can create or join. It's like a community group for different topics. So for this one, it's Brass Band Collective, but you can join a meetup from everything. If you're a vegan, if you follow a vegan diet, you can join a vegan meetup. If you're a digital marketer, you can join a digital marketing meetup. If you like to build sandcastles, I'm pretty sure there's a sandcastle meetup out there somewhere. But basically what this tells me is that it might be a good idea to get involved with one of these meetups, at least maybe create a profile and contribute to the community. That would be a great way to brand Brass Animals for Brooklyn. And then there's like just a few other websites here. So some of these aren't relevant and might not be applicable for Brass Animals, but we might want to consider creating a Wikipedia page for Brass Animals, because we can see number 5 is a Wikipedia page. But one thing I was looking at is that this number 3, L Train Brass Band, Brooklyn, United States. So this is the first actual website that represents a band. So we'll get into that a little bit later about how we can do some competitive analysis on them. But just keep that in mind. So when you're looking at the search results page, and let's say, if we're using another example, going back to Interrupt Media, you might have a few videos, you might have like these different directory websites, but if you want to really do an apples to apples comparison, you want to actually find a company website that you can actually look at and take a look at what they're doing. But we'll get back to that in a bit later. So any questions on that before we move on? Okay. So what should you look for with your competitors? So their on-page SEO, so how they're optimizing for different keywords, how they're using these keywords in their page titles and their heading tags and their meta descriptions. Really, what are they doing? How are they using these keywords? You want to look at their technical SEO. So how easy is their website to use? on different devices? How quickly does their website load? When we put their website into Screaming Frog, does the website come back with any crawl errors? There are different areas we definitely want to look at. Off-page SEO. So what is their link building strategy? Which websites are they getting backlinks from? What anchor text are they using to get these backlinks, and so forth? So question for Joy, can you remind us what is anchor text? Say that one more time.
Anchor text where you can place your link.
Place your link, but so that's the text that's going to be that links back to links to a website, right? But what's important about the actual words in that link? I couldn't quite hear. Can you say it in the mic?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so you're right. So your anchor text is part of the link that links to a website or another page. But what's important about the actual text in that anchor text? So let's look at an example. Let's see. Let's go to Wikipedia. Let's type in Philippines. Okay. Let's go over a quick example. Okay. So there are a lot of anchor texts here, right? So let's just pick out one. So this. So the Philippines share maritime borders with Taiwan to the north. So so this obviously is going to link to the Wikipedia page for Taiwan, but what's important about that actual text, Taiwan?
It must be related to the link.
Exactly. So related to the page that you're linking to, and preferably, especially if you're linking to another page on your website, optimize for a particular keyword. So so good job. Okay, so going back to our list here. So we went over on page, technical, off page. So content analysis. So we kind of went over this last week, but just figuring out how they're writing their content. How long is the content? What different topics are they covering in the content? Those are the things you should be analyzing your competitors' content for. And then the target keywords and categories. So again, which phrases and keywords are they targeting? Are there any keywords or phrases that your competitors are targeting that you aren't? That's really what you should be looking for with your competitors. So reviewing your competitors on-page SEO. So like I mentioned, how are they using keywords and meta tags, headings, and subheadings? Second bullet point here, how are they using internal and external links? Are they using them at all? If not, then that's obviously one way you can better optimize your website for SEO. If they're using external links, which websites are they linking out to? These will all kind of give you hints on your SEO strategy. Reviewing competitors' technical SEO. So are they using Schema? How many pages on their website are indexed in Google? Website performance. How quickly does their website load? Site usability. Again, if we were to pull up their website on an iPhone, how easy is it to use or read? And then crawl errors. So does their website have broken links? If not, then you need to make sure your website doesn't have broken links. If it does, that's one area for your advantage that you can make sure that your website is free of 404 errors and broken links. Reviewing competitors' off-page SEO. Before we get into that, I actually just want to kind of do a demo on an actual website for the on-page SEO competitive analysis. So remember, this was the website that we were looking at before for Brooklyn Brass Band, ltrainbrassband.com. And they're actually ranking number 3. So Brooklyn is a pretty large, technically it's a borough, but we can just call it a city here. It's really a big city, so for them to rank number 3 is pretty good. And we can kind of see here, if we look at this the title tag. So in their title tag, they're using Brooklyn, United States, which may or may not be relevant. And then they have their band name here at the end. So in their band name, they're really smart. It has brass band in it. So they can use their brand name whenever, and it can always be relevant to brass band. So, but we see something that stands out to me is that they have Brooklyn at the very beginning. So it tells you right away they're targeting Brooklyn. Now we scroll down a little bit further. They have this this big heading. So I'm going to assume that this is a H1 tag, and again they have Brooklyn and then they have brass band. And so kind of scrolling down a bit more, again I see the phrase Brooklyn Brass Band collective, so that's probably a long tail keyword. And then, you know, one thing that they're doing, and it's not necessarily keyword related, but they're mentioning different things that are relevant to Brooklyn. So they have the Coney Island Mermaid Parade mentioned. They have the Governor's Ball. So they mention this other Hudson Valley, New York, Secret City, something in Woodstock, New York, and then let's see, I saw something else. Yeah, the New York Transit Museum. So these are all kind of phrases or landmarks that are relevant to their area. So that definitely adds local relevance for the phrase Brooklyn Brass Band. So let's see, let's maybe just take another look at one of their other pages. So let's look at their music page. So Jonah, by looking at this page, these are all different videos. So we were to go back to the Brass Animals website, and we're talking to Ben. What is something that you would tell him to do to rank better for Brooklyn Brass Band?
Suggest mo kay Ben para mag-rank ang brass animals using ang keyword ng Brooklyn brass.
Add content related to the brass band in Brooklyn.
Sure, but what type of content?
By putting some videos.
Videos? Anything else?
Articles.
Articles? Okay.
Pictures.
Pictures? Yeah, that's a good one. Pictures, for sure. So yeah, very good. So yeah, again, you know, we kind of just look around the website a bit, see what type of content they have. And you're right, since we see that they have, it looks like they're using quite a bit of video, we want to make sure we have some of that on our page as well to position it to rank well. So very good. Okay, so for the sake of time, I'll just leave it at that page, but let's look at some of the other things related to on-page technical. So this is a tool, I believe we went over this before, called the Google Structured Data Testing Tool. And basically this tool detects any JSON LD schema that's on a website. And that JSON LD schema basically gives a website more, or gives the search engine crawlers more contextual information about your website, like what type of businesses you're in, where you're located, you know, what are your opening hours. There's a lot of different schema types. Maybe if you have a band leader, who is that band leader? Are they featured elsewhere online? Now, as we can see here on the right, Jarek, what do we see on the right?
None.
None, right? So we're looking at strategic advantages. This is one small advantage we could take advantage. This is one small advantage we could pursue, is that they're ranking really well, yet they don't have any schema on their website. So if we were to add schema, then it would definitely be an advantage for the Brass Animals website.
I have a question.
What's up?
Yeah, so if in case you have broken links in your website, it will be detected by that tool?
No. So this tool detects schema. So schema, it's a special snippet of code that you add to your website, and it just basically gives more context about your business. So data, for example, for your lead generation website, you would probably add some schema about, you're a marketing business or you're a marketing agency. It just provides more details about your business so that when these search engine crawlers review your website, they have a better understanding of where to rank your website. Does that make sense? Okay. And we'll get into how you detect broken links here in a minute. So the next tab here, and this is really going back to that list, how you check for indexation. So indexation, simply means how many pages are indexed in Google. How many pages does that website have indexed in Google? And you use a special search operator. You just do site and then colon. And then you just put in that website URL. So in this case, since we're analyzing the L-Train Brass Band website, we just do site colon ltrainbrassband.com, and we see that there are 7 search results. So they have 7 pages that are showing up in Google, but they're all related to Brooklyn Brass Band. So what that tells me is that if we want to have a better chance of ranking well for Brooklyn Brass Band, then it might be a good idea to add some more pages if we only have 1 for targeting Brooklyn. So you can just see kind of, so what I would do next is maybe just do the same search for brassanimals.com and see how many pages are indexed that are related to Brooklyn. Any questions there? Okay. Yeah, so just make sure you write down that search operator, site colon. So next we're looking at the website performance. So can anyone tell me what information does Pingdom give me?
Check the speed of your website.
Right. Data, you cheated because it's right there. But so we looked at, so I did a test for L-Train Brass Band, their website. So it has a performance grade of 79, and you can kind of see some of the areas where they can improve. But their website loads really quickly, so about 1.14 seconds. Remember, we were targeting 2 to 3 seconds, but if they're loading at 1.14, then we might want to go closer to that. So something to keep in mind is that for load time and usability, just look at what your competitors are doing or the type of scores that they're getting. And then finally, usability. So Ready.mobi, this is a free tool where you can see how a website looks on different devices. So you can see here, of course, it has the desktop view. For some reason, it's not showing up, maybe just an error or something. But we can see how it looks on different mobile phones. So what this tells me is that, if I'm just looking at the home page, it looks pretty good on different mobile devices. So if we were run the same test on the Brass Animals website, and if it doesn't look good, then we definitely need to improve it, because if this is what people are expecting, then we need to make sure that our website is up to par. Okay, so there's that. That's that. So any questions on, oh yeah, and then the last one was checking for crawl errors. So I just plugged in the L-Train Brassman website, and does anyone remember when we're looking for crawl errors, what we're looking for here? Like, what's the number that we're looking for?
For which part?
Yeah, so 4. So there are 404 errors, right? So they're going to be right here. Client error 4XX. But I say 404 because those are the most common. And we can see that the L-Train Brassman website, no broken links. So what that tells me, if I'm working on the Brass Animals website, is that if I have any broken links, I need to fix them as soon as possible. So going back to the presentation, any questions before we talk about off-page SEO? Okay. So reviewing competitors' off-page SEO. So does anyone know what a gap analysis is? Someone says something. Say it in the mic. No? Yeah, so basically a gap analysis is where you kind of look at what you have. So in this case, you look at your backlink profile, so websites that you're getting backlinks from, and then you look at your competitors. And a gap analysis would be all of those websites that are linking back to your competitors who aren't linking back to you. So that's how you would apply a gap analysis to off-page SEO, but gap analysis can be applied to anything related to competitive research. So let's say they are looking at your lead generation website. If you see that, for example, your competitor, they provide lead generation for 5 different verticals, but your team only provides lead generation for 3 different verticals, that's a gap that you might want to improve over time, is trying to find a way to cover those additional verticals, if it makes sense for your business. So that's just another way you would use a gap analysis. Now, when you're looking at your competitors' off-page SEO, the true insight can be found in the details. So you want to look at the types of backlinks they're getting. Are they doing guest posting? Are they getting links back from social media? Are they getting links back with their videos? Are they infographic links? You want to look at the type of backlinks that they're getting. You want to look at the anchor text they're using. So kind of what we went over before, the different anchor text breakdown. You want to make sure that you can kind of mirror what their anchor text they're using. So for example, if we see that 70% of all of their backlinks are using their business name for the anchor text, then you should try to use the same for your backlinks. So 70% would be for Brass Animals, or 70% would be for Interrupt Media. Backlink velocity. So how quickly are they building backlinks? Are they averaging maybe 5 per month over the course of 2 to 3 years? or have they had a real spike? So doing maybe 10 or 15 in the course of 1 month. You can use tools like SEMrush or Ahrefs to figure this out. And then kind of going with content, kind of content and link building go hand in hand. You want to look at which of their content topics are receiving the most backlinks. And this would kind of give you an idea on which topics you should write about to get those same backlinks for your website. So I'm actually going to show you how I would do a competitor analysis for 7 Atoms. So 7 Atoms, they're actually, looks like they also provide marketing automation. So they would be a competitor of Interrupt Media. So it looks like they are a little bit of a larger company. So we can see kind of what they're doing with their backlink development. So for this, I choose to use Ahrefs, but you can also use SEMrush. And so if we go to their main page, we see that they have over 3,000 backlinks to their entire website. And they're receiving these backlinks from 354 different websites. So referring domains, again, is just the number of different websites. And we look over time, and we look at the number of referring pages. So over time, they've built them maybe starting, they really got busy with it, looks like in August of 2016. And there's this huge mountain where at its peak it was about 55,000. And then for some reason, either maybe they didn't focus as much on SEO, but it kind of went back down to 2,000 in May of 2017. But you can also see over time that they have received backlinks from more and more websites. So, so this tells me that maybe they did a really big marketing push around this time, so that's why they received so many backlinks. But they've kind of had a gradual strategy where they're getting backlinks slowly over time. That's how you would look at the backlink velocity. Now for their anchor text, it would be the same way you would look at anchor text for your own website. So you can see here their anchors, 7 Atoms. It makes up 11% of all of their backlinks. And I'm sure there are different variations of that, but you can kind of see the phrases that they're using to get anchor text. So what you would do if you were doing a backlink campaign for Interrupt Media, you would go to Ben and say, hey, Ben, 7 Atoms, they have at least 11% of all of their backlinks are using a branded anchor. So we should do something very similar for Interrupt Media, where we're getting backlinks with Interrupt Media as our anchor text. And that's pretty much what you would do for all of their phrases and anchors here. And obviously you want to make sure to only pick what's relevant, but that's how you would use this information. So something else to look at here is their do follow versus no follow. So remember when we said that a good rule to go by for do follow would be 80% and then no follow would be 20%. So they actually have, I wouldn't say it's split, but it's closer to 50-50. And so what I would do, I would look at a few other marketing automation companies to see if, see their mix. And then I will apply that same strategy to my own website, to Interrupt Media. So we find that 2 other websites also have like a 55-45 split, then that will be the split I would use for Interrupt Media. Now, how do you figure out which content is producing the most backlinks? So Ahrefs actually has a section here you can see, so top content, and you can see which content is getting the most backlinks and which content is getting the most shares on social media. So it looks like their article about how to improve quality score in Google AdWords, it's like an 8-step guide. It received backlinks from 28 different websites and total 90 shares on social media. So really popular. But that might not be relevant. PPC and AdWords might not be relevant for you. So, something else you might want to look at here is number 3. So best time to send email blasts and marketing emails. So really just giving people information to have better email marketing campaigns. And we can see that there are 19 different websites linking back to that article. In total, that particular article had 16 shares on Twitter and 21 shares on Facebook. So you pretty much just go through this, and this is just one competitor. I recommend looking at least 3 to 5 of your competitors and just kind of looking at the different topics that are getting backlinks and social shares. And so that's how you can figure out, what topics would be really good for you to put on your website. So any questions there? Okay. So moving on to analyzing competitors' content. So there are really 2 questions that you want to ask here. What are your competitors doing well with their content, and what could they improve? So pretty simple, right? So reviewing what your competitors are doing well with their content. So the key question here is, let's say if we went back to the L Train Brass Band website, and we know that they're ranking number 3 for Brooklyn Brass Band. And so when we're looking at their content, we want to figure out, why is it working? Why do people like this particular content? And so for a brass band, as we saw, as Jonah helped us, is that they have quite a few videos on their website. So what that would tell me is that when someone is looking for a brass band to play at their event, whether it's their wedding or maybe an event with their company, they might want to see if the brass band is actually good. And the only way to see that is with a video, right? So that's probably why videos work really well for them. If we're looking at something for 7 Atoms, they might not be doing as much video. Maybe they're doing more guides or more ebooks. So why would that work well for them? Well, they're trying to position themselves to be the expert within their niche, which is marketing automation. And how do you do that? Well, you write extensive guides on how to do something, or you write really good ebooks on how to do something. And that's how you can showcase your expertise. So that's how you would kind of look at what's working well for competitors' content. Now, when you're finding gaps in your competitors' content strategy, you want to look at, let's say if we're reading one of 7 Atoms' guides about email marketing, but from your experience that they missed out on a really big point. But that's obviously a gap with their content. So you want to make sure that you cover that gap if you're writing on a similar topic. So here's one example, since we're heading into the holidays, on holiday gift guide. Now, Jana, can you tell me what's kind of off about this? If you were looking for, a guide, a gift guide, and it's this year, what's kind of missing here?
Date.
Date? So what about the date?
It's not updated.
It's not updated, right? So why, if we're looking at a gift guide, why would having something from 2016 not be that helpful?
Why?
Yeah, why isn't a 2016 gift guide as helpful? I mean, it's ranking number 1. It's from the New York Times, a very reputable newspaper. Why isn't that a good thing?
why is it helpful? Is your question why is it helpful?
Why is it not as helpful as it could be?
Because it's not updated to the date now.
Mm-hmm. Right, and this was 2 years ago, so these gifts that they're talking about might not even be very popular anymore, right? There might be something listed in one of these gift guides where there's a better version now. So that's why it's not very helpful for someone who's looking for a GIF in 2018. And the same can be applied to all of these videos. So that's, trends change, fashions change. So that's why it would be very important to have an updated 2018 holiday gift guide. So here are some other areas to consider for your competitor content analysis. So for content that performs well, create something similar but higher quality. So this is called the skyscraper technique, which you basically look at all of the articles that a competitor has on a particular topic, and then you figure out through your own research how you can make it 10 times better. So one of your homework assignments this week is actually going to be reading more in depth about the skyscraper technique. So there's a lot of good content out there on it. For content that needs improvement, incorporate your observed areas of improvement into your own content. So kind of going back to our previous example, let's say if one of your competitors, and it doesn't have to be as obvious as a gift guide that's outdated, but let's say that you're writing, maybe something about email marketing. And let's say there was a new law, Google passed a law, or Google wouldn't pass a law, but several countries passed a law where it's illegal to email someone after 9 p.m. Let's just pretend, right? So your competitor's content probably didn't cover that, but you can produce an updated content article that mentions that law or even goes into more detail about that new law and what it means for email marketers everywhere. So that's how you would kind of do a gap analysis on content and figure out how you can create something that's better, more helpful, and more relevant. And be mindful of the content type. So I just want to show an example of what I mean here about content type. Let's see here. So this is actually a screenshot of this is like a software analysis. So this is a software analysis that was created by Capterra. And basically they're comparing different CRM software that are for small businesses. And you can see they give each software an average review and then total number of reviews, and they talk about important aspects like pricing, different limits you have with the software, and data storage. So let's say that for Interrupt Media's marketing automation offering, a good piece of content may be, comparing your offering versus other marketing automation vendors locally. And putting together a chart like this based on reviews and based on different details. This would give someone who is ready to find a marketing automation solution, it would give them the information that they need to make a decision on, or the information they need to make a decision on this, or the information they can take to their boss to make a decision on it. So that's why content type is very important. Let's say another example, let's say, and this goes back to Brass Animals example. So as we kind of already went over, one thing when someone is looking to book a band, they might want to actually make sure that the band is good, right? They don't want to have the band show up and they're terrible. So, you might want to hear or listen to one of their performances before you give them a call. And so L-Train, they understand that very well, And I believe the Brass Animals website, you guys also have videos of performances, but the more of those that you can provide, the better. So it's not always blog content that's going to be relevant. It just really depends on the intent of your target customer and what your competitors are doing. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at content type. And then topics and questions and content length. So I won't go into too much detail here because we already went over this during the last session, but figuring out what questions people are asking about a particular topic. So you can use, you can go to sites like Reddit or Quora or Metafilter, and you can figure out the questions that your target customers have about marketing automation or brass bands, for example. And content length. So you can use different tools to figure out how long the average content is on the first page. And usually what I do, so let's say that the average content length is 750 words. But we don't just want to be average, we want to be the best. So if the average first page search result is 750 words, then let's make our content 1,000 words. That way we can really set ourselves apart. So it makes sense? Any questions there? Looks like my mouse is acting up a bit here, so let's see. Okay, so keyword and category targeting. So analyze common questions across the buying journey. So we just mentioned Reddit, Quora, and Metafilter are really good for this types of analysis. You want to create content that address these questions. So we just went over the software comparison. So I'm sure when Capterra created that little chart that we just looked at in the Google image search, that maybe they saw questions about what is the best CRM software for small businesses? What is the lowest cost software for small businesses? Which CRM software for small businesses where I can have the most contacts? And they pretty much took those questions and answered them all with that one chart. So that's one way that you would use this research to create content. And probably the most important thing, you want to track keyword rankings and visibility compared to your competitors. So this is, having your target keyword list, whatever company or whatever that target is, and figuring out, okay, where you rank and where do your competitors rank. And over time, of course, you want your rankings to improve compared to your competitors. You also want to have more visibility online. So that visibility metric, that's something that's directly from SEMrush. But keyword rankings, there are actually several software tools out there that you can use to track your keywords. Now for Day or Jarek, I know both of you are working on the Brass Animals website. Are you currently tracking your keywords? No? Okay. So yeah,
We are still on the stage of building pages.
Sure. Yeah, so I definitely would say once you start publishing more of those pages, you definitely want to start tracking your keywords to see, because you really want to see how those pages are performing and if you need to make improvements. So that's why doing the keyword ranking is very important. So when you're doing all of this competitor analysis, one thing you also need to be mindful of is your competitor's authority. So can anyone remind the class what is domain authority?
Domain. What is domain authority?
Yeah, I think you know it. You don't even have to look at your notes. What do you think what does it sound like? What does domain authority sound like?
Uh,
Someone just said something. It sound right. Say it again.
Measures the predictive rankings.
Say it one more time. It was breaking up a bit.
Measures the predictive rankings.
Right. So that's a good start. So if a website has more authority, it'll probably be easier for it to rank compared to a low authority website. Yep. So here's another question. What is a tool we can use to measure the domain authority?
Wait.
Mosbar.
Yep, Mosbar, right on the money. So I'm actually going to use an example here. This is actually Daya's website on lead generation. But I think it'll give a good example of what I mean by authority. So Daya, is it exact, Daya?
yeah.
Yeah. So and you guys focus on lead generation, is that right? Right.
Yes.
Right. So this website on the left here, their name is Digital Marketing Philippines, and they also focus on lead generation for, you guess it, the Philippines. So, and they're actually ranking really well. When I looked at this before, they had a few listings on the first page. And so when I checked out their website, so we can see here, this is their homepage. They actually have a domain authority of 42. And so, there's obviously multiple things that factor into that. They, probably had their website around for some time. Let's maybe check out some things about their website. Yeah, so you can just kind of see the different keywords and phrases that they're using on their homepage. You can see, so their page authority is 43, the domain authority is 42. So the total links that they have is 447. So it kind of gives you an idea on, they've probably been around for some time. They've done some SEO campaigns for their website. Now, if they wanted to realistically compete with them with SEO, and let's say you guys the two companies went after the same phrase, lead generation Philippines. Who do you think will have an easier time ranking for that phrase, Daya?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. So both companies, they target lead generation. Let's say, since we're coming into 2019, let's say you both wrote on the topic, seven strategies for better lead generation in 2019. That was the name of the article. Which website you think would have an easier time to rank well for that?
Of course, their website.
Sure.
Because they have a good domain authority.
Right. So what that means for Daya and her team is that, maybe they don't target, a very competitive phrase like that or topic like that. Maybe they go more long tail. And that way, let's say if Digital Marketing Philippines, if they targeted this one head term, but Daya's team, they target maybe 10 long tail keywords, but they add it all together, have the same search volume, that might be the better way for Daya and her team to go when creating content and doing SEO. they'll see more momentum with that strategy. And this is really, this is just one example, but this is really with any SEO campaign. You need to take a look at the websites you're going against, because if you're a technology company and you're going against Apple, well, good luck, right? But if you can focus on long tail keywords and really kind of getting more specific with your content, then that's a better strategy for success. Any questions there? Nope. Okay. Happened to my slide. Okay. So we have a few more minutes, so I'm going to try to wrap things up here. So consider all of the search engine result page features when you're doing competitor analysis, because SEO rankings are important, but it's more so about maximizing your visibility so that you can connect more with your target audience. Depending on the nature of your business, certain search features will bring more visibility and traffic and ultimately more customers. So let's compare Interrupt Media. So they are, you have an office in San Francisco, but you're probably looking for clients everywhere. So your organic visibility, your organic rankings might be really important. But let's say, for example, we had a dentist in San Francisco. So we Googled dentist San Francisco. So someone tells me, what is this little section called again? Right. So this is the map pack. These are the map listings, and these are the organic listings. So Joy, if you were a dentist in San Francisco, where would you prioritize ranking? Like which of these, the map pack or the organic? Map pack.
Map pack.
Why? You knew that was coming.
Because it's on the top.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean that's really simple, but that's a really good answer. It's on the top, so this is the first thing people are going to see, and of course you can see the reviews and you can kind of get the information right from the listing. So yeah, if you're a dentist in San Francisco, this is a higher priority probably than ranking down here, right? So it just depends on the nature of your business. For Jarek's photography website, he might not be interested so much in, ranking in a local map pack. If he wants to talk more about or just focus more on educating amateur photographers, then maybe he'll just focus on organic, because it's not just people in the Philippines who can find value from his content. It's people everywhere. So this local map pack won't be as relevant. So again, just really depends on the nature of your business and your website. So any questions there? Okay. So key takeaway here is competitor analysis, when you do it well, it prevents you from reinventing the wheel for your SEO strategy. Unless you're in a brand new business or you created brand new technology where there aren't any competitors, there's someone in your space who's been doing it and doing it longer than you have and have had some success with online marketing. So competitor analysis is all about kind of re-engineering and kind of breaking down what they've done well and applying it to your own SEO campaign. So any Q&A, any questions about this topic or anything we've covered in the course? No? Okay. And so these are the homework assignments. So really a lot of reviewing different articles. That's going to be the main type of task for this week. And then, of course, answering the homework questions. So as always, feel free to reach out on Slack if you have any questions or anything.
Okay.
All right. And so I'll stop recording here.